Hello everybody, my name is React, and today I'm going to be trying to make a long jump tutorial for you guys. Most of them on YouTube are pretty old, and I wanted to make an in-depth one myself to help you guys get consistent at long jumping yourself. So about strafing in general, you can watch Launders tutorial, which I can link you guys in the description, but I'll just briefly go over what he talks about in his video, which is mainly pre-strafing and just strafes in general. And so real quick, how I line up my pre-strafes, once again, regular running you go 250 units a second. When you pre-strafe you go up to 276, but you're mostly going to get 275 if you do it correctly. So what I do is I get to the edge of a block, and there's conveniently a line here, so I'm 90 degrees against the edge of the block. Now what I do from here is look about 30 degrees to the left of it, and I set a checkpoint, and then I start running, and then jump off the edge. My personal best long jump is a 280 unit jump, and I can hit reds fairly consistently whenever I'm warmed up. So I'll try to hit one. Okay, well I'm whiffing hardcore, so there we go. So that's a 275, which on most servers, unless it's a 102 tick server, that is a red. That is a godlike. That is impressive to a lot of people. And once you get pretty good, it's not too hard. And yeah, so that's just how you do it. How I line up my pre-strafe, once again, 90-degree angle, 30 degrees to the left, and then W and D, and move my mouse to the right until I hit 275, which by that time I'm at the edge of the block, and then I just strafe off. So first things is strafing in general. You should know how strafing works. You let go of W and you hit A or D, and you move your mouse to the left or the right with respect to the key. And this is how you gain speed in KZ Climb, and also in the regular game. And you can do this with great effect in matchmaking with b-hopping around the map, but that's something else. So this is exclusively about long jumps. So how you transfer your pre-strafe into your first strafe is very important. And if we look at my long jump stats here, you can see my first jump here was 100% sync off of my pre-strafe, and then I gained 10.9 speed off of it. That's pretty good. Usually, that's pretty good. You want to keep that. You want to keep everything above 10 on your gain. And sync, it doesn't really matter too much as long as it's above 80%. So transferring your first strafe, you just gotta know how far to strafe. I always recommend strafing your first two very wide compared to your rest, because that's how you're gonna gain most of your speed. And you can see here in this 260, I gained 20 speed and 15 speed with my first two strafes, even though my first strafe was at 68% sync. So sync is not everything. It's more about your strafe distance and management. Oh my god, I can't say it. Managing that with respect to your distance. So you want to keep a good forward distance without too much horizontal distance. And yeah, so it takes a lot of practice, but yeah. One thing I do want to talk about is a long jump bind, which I will put on the screen right now. What this does, it will have duck and jump at the same time. So you can just do that, and it'll give you extra height, allowing you to jump farther. And yeah, so I'll do a jump without it. So you can see 266 and then 273 with the bind. It doesn't really make too much difference, but as you can see here, 56 height, 55 height. You can get this to 57 height and stuff if it doesn't really matter, but as long as you're above 55 height, it doesn't really matter. Now also, how to up your strafe count more and more. I always do 7 strafes. I'm not fast enough to do 8 strafes. I do them sometimes, and I can hit reds on them, and I can keep 80 sync on them, but it's just too hard for me sometimes. So I do 7. A lot of people do 7. I know people that do 9, and then there's Linus that does 10, and the world record was done with 8. So strafe number doesn't really matter. It's more about, once again, managing your vertical and horizontal distance on your strafes and getting your gain to a very high number. As you can see here, that one is a 13, and not having any loss, which is very important. Now, whenever you're first starting out, I'd recommend doing 3 strafes and getting 265 or get a 260 with 3 strafes. Get comfortable with that. But as long as you can do a 240, most of the time you're gonna be pretty good. So yeah, I just say get to where you can do a 240 fairly consistently, without really thinking about it. And then if you can do that with 3 strafes like I'm doing here, so you do it with 3 strafes and move up to 5 strafes. And whenever you can get 5 strafes to blues fairly consistently, then you move up to 7 strafes, and whenever you get 7 strafes to green, then you're doing pretty good. I do also recommend you practice doing some non-binded jumps like that one. That one was non-binded. It was a 272 with a bind. That's probably 275 at least. So that's pretty much it about how to up your strafe count. Now how far you should be strafing. I usually do it where I make a pyramid from the block I'm on to the block I'm landing on, where I start out really wide on my first 2 strafes and then get slightly more thinner later. Does it have jump beam in it? Okay, so there's a jump beam here, so this will tell me the path of my jump, and if I strafe, you can see it strafes with me. So we're going to do a jump real quick, and you can see that one isn't really good at all. That one is a bit better, but you want to keep your strafes not too far apart, but also not too close so you don't gain speed. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I personally try to make mine a pyramid, but I don't subconsciously think about it too much, and I can, like I said, I mean, it's pretty much all personal preference how you do it. I'm just trying to give you a general idea of how to do it, and so you can do it your own way. And that's pretty much like all you really have to know. The rest is just practicing. Wide strafes, and then continuing. So you keep your speed. That one is a pretty good one in terms of pattern wise. But a lot of the time it will be pretty random. Like on that 275 here, my last 2 strafes kind of killed me because I didn't gain as much speed as I should have, as well as my 4th strafe. Which sync is not everything, as you can see here. My 1st and 2nd strafe were fairly close, but my first strafe was a lot more speed because I strafed a lot wider. If you can get 100 sync on that wide strafe, you're a god, and then you're gonna gain the tiniest bit more speed. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're not losing speed, you're doing something right. So yeah, hopefully this will answer most of the questions about strafing in general, and how to, do whatever. As far as being consistent, I always just say to get in and do this, and try to hit good speeds while you're doing this. Don't press W, and just strafe back and forth, and try to hit really good speeds back and forth, and that's what I do. And then also try to do some 5 strafes to warm up. That was pretty bad. That also make sure you do crouch as you're landing, but not crouch mid-air because you'll lose speed that way. So what I usually do is I just do all my strafes and I crouch, um, which is probably not very effective, but it's what I do, so it doesn't really matter. It's all personal preference, like I said, and yeah. So this is pretty much just a general tutorial um, of how to do long jumps. If you have any questions, you can leave something. You can leave your question in the comments. I'll try to get back on them. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys next time.